Hello everybody, John here again, and we're on another little Secrets of the XK8. But let me start off by saying thank you so much for all the positive comments and reaction we've had to the future plans for the site, i.e. we're keeping the channel as is. We've got a website and we're going to use that for a little bit of merchandise. Other than that, no changes. And yet the logo's been very well received. Thank you for all your kind comments. And thank you to everybody who supported the channel by buying a sticker. Been quite overwhelmed, emotionally and actually. So, moving on. This one is an unusual one and a short one. It has been prompted by a question from one of our subscribers. I shan't name the gentleman, just in case he doesn't want anybody to know about the issue. But you know who you are, and thank you very much. And basically was asking about a solution for eliminating the rust on the rear of the sills, which is the very first place that the XK8 does tend to rust. And he'd heard about a technique where you remove the part that is offending rather than repair it. Had I heard of it? Had I used it? And is it something that would be considered incorrect? Well, I have actually done that technique myself on my previous car. It was way before I did videos, but I do have stills, so I was able to send them over to him. So I just thought I'd use these same stills for a chat through with you guys. And no, this won't be considered correct by purists. You might consider it a little bit of a bodge, but I'm not a bodywork person, and this repair lasted over 10 years on my car, and I was very pleased with it. So just sharing for information, and here we go. Okay, so the area we're talking about is, if we follow along the sill towards the rear wheel, it's the bottom edge at the front of the wheel, and stones and all sorts of things get spat up onto the shelf just in front of the tyre there. This shot shows the result. So what there should be there is a return as wide as the area on the left hand side of the image, but the area at the bottom has rusted away. Obviously I've pulled some of that off because it was flaky, but it is very typical for the cars to start to corrode in that area. It literally just gathers up mud, stones, water, and they don't always fall out. They start to build up. So keeping that area clean is very important. You can get this obviously repaired very professionally, but this is the amputation method, let's call it. Not saying that it's the most professional, but it is very effective, and if you're not after perfection in terms of originality, it can help your car survive a lot longer. We're looking up now at the underside of the sill, and on most cars this will be body coloured, but PJ had some stone chip applied over the top of the original stone chip, and this image basically shows that to do the repair or amputation successfully, you need to scrape away at the stone chip paint and reveal the extent of the issue you've got. Obviously if you're not revealing any sill, this is not going to help you in the slightest. You can see there's loads of sound metal there. It is literally just the return flange that had caused the problem. So clean up the area so you can see what you've got. Next you create this, and it's a combination of a bit of artistic flair and a Dremel, and basically cutting away the corroded part of the return and trying to leave a shape that you think looks a little like it may have been there from new. It is definitely worth, if you're going for this method, to make sure you don't leave anything that is along the bottom edge as a shelf for more dirt and rubbish to sit behind. So you can see I've took it up until you get to the vertical part and smoothed it all off and done a little bit of grinding and flap wheeling, basically getting rid of all the corrosion that's in there. Next, apply some really good quality anti-corrosive primer, undercoat, something that's going to make this job last. So at the time I was using, I believe, Finnegan's #1, which is by the same brand as Hammerite. I don't even think that exists anymore. This was 12, 13 years ago. So I think POR is a paint that people really do recommend in terms of undercoating and preventing rust. Something like that. This is not bodywork area, it's not an A surface. So the fact that it's not perfectly smooth is not important. What is important is you've gone to the bother of removing some metal, trying to make it look OE. You make sure that that does not rot again. Now here you can see that from the side view I had actually applied a little bit of the same Finnegan's #1 to the A surface, the surface that you can see which you would consider bodywork, just because the underseal, the stone chip paint, did extend up from the underneath into the sort of diagonal part of the sill a little bit. So I decided to recoat that with this anti-corrosive material, and then I would blow it over with stone chip to get the sort of orange peel effect to match. Then it's just a case of masking off. I'm using a bit of plastic and a magnet to stop the inside of the wheel arch getting the majority of the paint, but conventional masking obviously on the outside, and applying some colour matched paint to match your bodywork and the appropriate lacquer over the top of that to give yourself a reasonable finish. But again, we are not doing bodywork as such here. It is an unseen area in the main, so you don't have to be brilliant with an aerosol or bodywork to do this job. And here's the area that I try to blend in. As I say, extended slightly onto the A surface because the underseal had come away and the stone chip had come away underneath. So blowing in some red so that it wasn't so obvious. I'm trying to feather it. So I wasn't spraying right up to the masking tape, I was just dusting the paint to give a bit of a blend. And here you can see the end result, and I don't think it's too shabby. As I say, it's a low cost alternative to getting properly welded in material, basically taking away the rotten material so that it doesn't basically infect the rest of the steel down there, and you can tidy up that area pretty effectively. After this you just need to daub on a little bit of black paint or underseal in your wheel arch in order to lose the bit of overspray that I'd put on there. So there we have it. That was my solution done 12 years ago. As I say, I'm not a bodywork expert, so feel free to comment and give advice, but if you want to throw stones, this is not what this is about. I'm not pretending to be a professional on this. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe, check out the website, and please remember that the comments that you send in, I really enjoy. I try to answer every single one. If I don't get to them, I'm not picking on you. I've just run out of time. I look forward to seeing you all again soon on To The Garage.